Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonzo Duralde, William Bibiani. Turn, episode 4, Eternity, how long?
Too long.
Yeah, that's a question you don't want to ask with this show.
We've been on the fence with a lot of these episodes. Like, there's stuff to like, there's stuff not to like, and that's fine. This episode is pretty bad. This episode is like, oh, good, we found a new antonym for drama. This is fantastic. That's the only thing that got me excited about it.
Okay,
this episode. Well,
you're making me defend it now, I think.
This episode, there's two things. Well, there's three things going on in this episode, but the main thing is out in Seatocket, Burn Gorman thinks that because Caleb showed up in the last episode that there's going to be a big attack on Seatocket. Oh no! So he wants to build defenses for his cannons by using gravestones to deflect cannonball attacks, which we know aren't coming. That's the thing that's frustrating. So Abraham's father is put in charge of deciding which gravestones we're going to sacrifice, and the entire town turns against him, and maybe his dad's going to like see the light and realize that the British are asking him to do some pretty messed up things. But again, there's all this drama around will they or won't they use these headstones? Will the town be settled for this? But there's no other part of that drama. There's no actual threat coming because we know that the entire episode is based on false information that never comes up. There's no drama to it.
But I don't know that even matters. I think the idea of the sacrifices of war and the things that people are asked to do and the decisions they're forced to make, whether or not we know that there is or isn't an attack on Seatocket coming. I think they actually do milk the gravestone thing for some interesting drama and for the.
So you can't get milk from a stone.
Well, as it were. I mean, I think you've at least got this whole notion of who's asking and why and what do they hope to get out of it, and that's kind of interesting. And the world's angriest Quaker.
Here's the thing: they get to that stuff by the end of the episode. By the end of the episode, they actually start turning around. There's a really good conversation between Abraham and his father. His father. Do you remember the name of the actor who plays the father? Because he's good.
The judge.
He's really good. I apologize for not remembering your name, sir. You're really really good on the show. And they really illustrate that moral quagmire, like pretty effectively. And then in the end, Burn Gorman has a speech where he finds out that this whole thing was actually like this kind of like, oh, isn't it funny? It's kind of like what we're doing in the Middle East, with hearts and minds and blah. And like all that stuff is relevant and kind of interesting, but it doesn't show up until the last quarter of the episode.
Yes, no, they make you work for it. Whenever I hear hearts and minds, I immediately go to Vietnam because that's
But which also is relevant and
totally.
Then that's fine. They should be making these parallels to make us really care and equate these things to what's going on today.
Yeah.
Fine. But the first 3 quarters of this episode are focused on solving this problem, which is based on a threat that we know doesn't exist. Abraham knows it doesn't exist. There's never like a temptation to try to get him to prove to them that we don't even need to be having this conversation.
I don't think
so there's no drama to it. There's no suspense.
I don't think the threat matters. I think the moral quandary that comes up in this issue is what's interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I love the scene where the judge has tea with the old lady who's like, no, you're crazy.
I love the bit with the sewing circle. That sewing circle is worse than a sewing circle. That is the most gossipy sewing circle I have ever seen. I've never actually seen a scene actually at a sewing circle.
In case you wondered where that expression came from,
I knew where it came from, but I've never seen it dramatized. So that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like the mahjong sequences in Lust Caution. It's where the real power plays are being launched. So that's our A story, and then our B story is can we get the information about the sauerkraut and the Hessians in Trenton to General Washington? Past Captain Dipshit, who's always getting in the way of everything. Who I forget his name, but he's he is the permanent foil for the good guys on this show.
I realize it makes us sound a little unprofessional, but I think it speaks volumes about this show that
we can't bother to remember people's names.
I did I liked the idea of what our sort of B heroes are doing in this, which is they have this one guy who's just like, what's this? Plans about the enemy? Well, we're not using those. Burn them! And I'm like, what? Whoa! And a part of me kept expecting like that guy to we'll find out that that's like the guy J.J. Field was working with. Like the secret spy. Like he actually has a motive for doing that. Like he's evil.
Right.
They didn't go in that direction.
No, he's just incompetent.
He's just a douche. And that's fine. He can be a douche. It creates drama. And they have to find a way around that problem. And the way around that problem isn't terribly interesting, but it leads to a good, like, sort of Raiders of the Lost dark ending.
Thinking that exact same thing.
With like George Washington has the world's biggest inbox, so he's never going to read the note. And that was actually good drama. I like how they're setting up that because they don't. The idea of, we've expressed on this series before that, yes, spies existed beforehand, but the idea of a spy ring, the idea of a spy institution that is working with the government, these ideas are kind of new, and trying to implement things that seem like common sense to us today don't seem like common sense to them then, and so it's creating a series of problems that create a series of frustrations, almost a Kafka-esque problem for them to do their jobs. And that's interesting, and it should be interesting, but again, the solution was, well, write another letter. That's not so bad.
Yeah, no.
We could have done that, yeah.
I think that there's a lot of what's interesting about the Revolutionary War that we're really not getting yet. I mean,
there's a lot of interesting things about the Revolutionary War.
Like for example, the idea that the redcoats would go march into the middle of the field with bright red jackets on while the colonists hid in the trees and shot them. I want more of that. So
that would be fun. It would be fun to have more action. There's so much stuff that they could be doing.
Okay, but however, we're forgetting subplot 3 with the actress and the general and the.
Yes.
I did not know Marco Polo went back that far.
I looked that up. I could not find the origin. Like how, if you know, YouTube, if you know the exact origin of when people started playing Marco Polo, please tell us. Because I looked it up and I could not find it. Like no one seems to know. Like that, I was really, really worried about that. But so they kidnapped the guy that J.J. Field is working with, and his information didn't go well, and so he gets him to be attracted to a woman who's an actress, and so she's going to pretend to be. It seems like it would have been easier to just actually be mean to someone than go through all this trouble. It led to some funny jokes.
Yeah, she's kind of interesting as sort of a duplicitous character. Is it just me, or is J.J. Field the Lee Pace you get when you can't get Lee Pace? Like he just sort of seems
which is sad
like
because Lee Pace is the Tom Hiddleston you get when you can't get Tom Hiddleston. And I actually like J.J. Field like as an actor. I've seen him in other things. I think he's good. He plays this role well,
but his role is in the terrible Austin Land.
Oh, he was good in Austin. Like
he was fine.
The
movie's terrible.
Whatever. I liked him more than you did. But the thing is, his whole subplot is like all. It sounds like it's build up for season 2. Like he's like
kind of
his whole subplot ends this episode with and then a year from now you'll be in charge of the Colonial Army. I'm like, well, way to go on the suspense turn. And that's my thing. Like, we even with the A plot, again, the idea for the drama of a town having to make moral compromises, deciding is this the thing that we're going to take a stand on, that we're not going to take anymore, that's good drama. But when it is predicated on something, Bern Gorman makes this decision based on, I don't think we have enough time to go to a rock quarry to get just plain old-fashioned stones. That's the idea on which it is predicated at the beginning of the episode. So it sounds like there's a time limit. Oh no, the revolutionaries are coming.
And then it's not until the end that they give you the thing of, aha, they're not going to fire on gravestones.
If nothing else, like the dad should have believed that, and so it should have been like a motivating factor for him.
Yeah.
A ticking clock, there were very few things more dramatic and suspenseful than a ticking clock. They had the device there and they never turned it on. And it was just such an obvious thing. It's like, and it wouldn't have really change anything. It just would have made it more interesting. It would have made it more suspenseful. It would have raised the stakes for the characters within it. And then Abraham's off the sidelines like, God fucking damn it. I have cabbages. That are way more important than this.
Cabbage was not uttered in this episode, so I give them points for that.
I call this episode My Cabbages? So it just didn't work for me.
I'm hoping we're going to turn a corner here, and it's not happening yet. So
no, not so much. But it's, you know what? It is interesting though to watch a television series that has so much potential, and I don't want to say squandering it because it's too soon. Yeah. It is too soon. They're still developing. There's still so much potential there. But it's interesting to see a show that isn't perfect. To talk about a show that isn't just us gushing about it over and over again, and just say this is an interesting show. Here's how we think it could be better. And that's one thing that you get in TV that you don't get in movies, for example, which is you get to talk about it midstream, and the conversation can actually affect the show. Sometimes, there are a lot of shows where it's like we were going to kill this character off, but everyone liked them so much we kept them around.
I mean,
hopefully they're watching us.
I think this one might already be done, but in any event, I hope that as they went along, they found their footing, and we can go there with them. So
it'll be a fun day.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, we'll catch you next time.